guys, welcome back to the Rake. We have a very exciting show today. Two guests, Ryan Feldman and Nick Vertucci. For those of you who don't know, Ryan ran the Live at the Bike stream for many years, and Nick was a series regular playing high stakes on there every week. So welcome, guys. We're happy to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so they're starting a new poker stream at the Hustler Casino in LA sometime in 2021. So we want to talk all about that. But before we dive into the new project, why don't you guys just give us a brief, little background of how did you get into live streaming? How much poker do you play? All that.
Go ahead, Nick. Ryan. Oh. Okay, fine. I'll go first.
Would you like me to go first?
Yeah, you go first. Go ahead. You go first.
I just feel okay. That's all right. And then you can piggyback off all that, whatever I say.
There you
all
go.
Right. So how did I get into poker? I literally, this is embarrassing to say because I'm so old, and then I probably should be better than I am. But I've been playing poker for years. I go back to when the Commerce Casino, my first experience with poker, and many people don't believe this, was the stakes were so low that we used to sit at a table and deal ourselves at the Commerce Casino, playing 50 cents, $1. I was 18, 19 years old, and I had a fake ID so I could gamble. And then worked my way through 5-card draw, 5-card stud, 7-stud, hold'em, limit, and then on to being the fish on Live at the Bike. And I got contacted. I don't know, Ryan, maybe you remember this. I don't remember how I wound up on Live at the Bike. I cannot remember how that happened to you.
I don't know exactly, but I think it was something like, I knew you from playing with you at Commerce. We used to play 10-20 sometimes. And then I think I ran into you at the World Series one summer. We were both going up to play cash games, putting our name up, and I started talking to you. And then I think that's when I started talking to you more about it. And then at some point you asked to be on the show, and I got you on.
Yeah, and then
that summer.
And then it was really great because for over a year I was, they built the game around me on Friday, so they figured they just have everyone always wanted to say, "Hey, is Nick playing?" And if I played, then the game went. So, so that was fun.
Story.
Yeah, of course it is. I couldn't tell a lie. So I don't know. What else would you like to know? That's how I got into poker. Ask me something direct, and I answer anything.
Nice. So you guys teamed up for the World Series of Poker, and Ryan, what did you do before poker, and how did you get into Live at the Bike stuff?
So I worked at ESPN for 5 years. I did a lot of sports media stuff for a long time, and I took a job at ESPN in 2011. So I lived in Connecticut. I was a researcher. I came up with stats and information for the on-air talent at ESPN. So that was a pretty cool job. Got to work with some pretty cool people, Sports Center, college basketball shows, NBA shows. In 2014, I took a job transferring out to the LA office at ESPN to work on NBA Countdown as a researcher. So I moved to LA, started doing that. And after I moved to LA, I had already played a lot of poker when I lived in Connecticut because there's nothing else to do in Connecticut. So my off days, I would drive to Foxwoods and stay overnight there for a couple of days and just play. But when I moved to LA, the casinos were even closer to me, so I played even more. And I got less and less into doing, ESPN's research, working in sports. I got less into that and more into playing poker. Started playing a little bit on Live at the Bike, started commentating a little bit on Live at the Bike. I have a broadcasting background, so something I was interested in. And then I just decided to leave ESPN in 2016 for a bunch of different reasons and take a chance and play poker for a few months. That didn't go so well, but I ended up getting the job at Live at the Bike right after that because it was good timing right when I was in a transition period. Nicole Juergens, who was the previous producer of Live at the Bike and one of the owners, she announced that she was leaving. And so I jumped on it and jumped at the opportunity and ended up becoming an owner and producing the show and doing all of that. So that all happened late 2016. And and then I obviously over the years got more and more into playing and my life became poker.
I think I met you around that, not long after that I met you. I started playing on your stream before I did my vlog, before all that. So you guys were one of my first kind of, I don't know, TV appearances. So I have a special place in my heart for you guys over there.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I remember meeting you. I think it was the first time I met you, and that had to be 2017, or was 2018. Whenever it was, a few months before you started your vlog. And yeah, I remember we were eating at the Bike Brewery. It was me, you, and I forget your friend's name, but I remember we were eating and you were telling me about your idea about a vlog, and we were just talking about it. And yeah, it was just an idea back then, and then a few months later, you became a superstar. So, and you actually, I remember the first time you came, you were actually like you were just happened to be in town, and I think there was an Instagram game, and you just asked to be an alternate on the show. So you were just there, and you're like, let me get on if a seat opens up, and I think you ended up getting on. But it's funny, like now, you want a seat on the show anytime, no alternates.
I appreciate it.
So how did you guys get the gig with Hustler? I feel like this is a really big deal, mainly because Mike Postle tried to screw up everything, having to do with live streaming forever. I feel like it's hard for a casino to take that risk right now. How did that all come about?
Well, okay, I'll start, and then Nick, you can jump in. But
Sure.
so I left Live at the Bike sometime in 2019, for whatever, a bunch of different reasons. And so after I left, I started talking to Nick, and we started talking about, well, what if we went to another casino and tried to get our own show somewhere else and just make it way better? So we started talking to a few different casinos, had some close calls, but we kept pushing for it. And beginning of quarantine, Hustler actually reached out to us. Sean, the GM there, he found out that I had left the Bike, and he asked if I was interested in doing something there. And so me and Nick started talking to Sean, and it developed, and pretty quickly we started kind of finalizing a deal, and it just took a few months to make it official. But yeah, we were pretty excited about it. We love the management there. Sean and everyone else that we met there is great. They're really passionate about putting a live stream show together, about making their poker room better. They believe in us, and we believe that we can build something special there. So yeah, it all came together during quarantine, and me and Nick have just been working on it for the last few months.
Yeah. Just to piggyback that a little bit, when I started playing Live at the Bike, I don't know what year it was, a few years back. Ryan and I started to become friends, and me having some business background, I just like innocently just would say to him, hey, how come you guys don't do this? And, why don't you do that? Like, you guys could create so much more revenue doing that, just things that would pop into my head because they have such a massive following. And anytime you have so many eyes watching something, you just have opportunity, but yet, you have to take advantage of that opportunity. You can't do the same thing, month in, month out. And so it just started like that. And, Ryan left for his own reasons, whatever he decides to say on that, he can tell you. And when he left, it was funny because they knew that Ryan and I were really close. And I think there was a little bit of a stage of paranoia because, Ryan wanted to go and do his own thing. That's why he respectfully stepped away. He adhered to all the time restraints, everything else. I mean, he did everything. We talked about that a million times. And I'm like, yeah, man, make sure just stick to all the guidelines you have and do it right. And at one point, Ryan even was like, if I do this, is it possible you want to like fund this or do this? And so that's all it was at first. And word got back to them, and they got really weirded out even about me. Like, so I had to have a long chat with him and say, hey, I'm just playing here at playing the games. And yeah, Ryan approached me, etc. And then when COVID started, Ryan and I partnered on a few things and some other things. And then, like he said, Sean Yapel contacted him because he saw one of Ryan's posts on Twitter. And that's when Ryan contacted me. And I'm like, yeah, because to be honest, the guys at the Bike are awesome. I think Wayne is the salt of the earth. I have nothing negative to say about those guys. Ryan's always been cool to me. So, this is just a thing where, I love poker. I want to be involved in it at a higher level. And, if I'm going to be a little bit honest, the game started getting kind of not as good, and the lineups were filled with commentators, and they weren't the best for the game. And so for me, it just was the right time to do it during this break. And I'll tell you this right now, this is a shout out to the Hustler Casino. When Ryan and I decided to really go full force and do this at the beginning of the year in February, somewhere in there, it's really bizarre. Some of the management for these casinos, there's not a ton of vision. And when we started talking to the Hustler guys, Sean Yapel specifically is the GM. It's amazing. Like, these guys really got it together. Like, it was like the biggest breath of fresh air. And we just all started heading in the right direction. And just, this past month here is when we finally signed the agreements. We worked really hard. And then, Larry Flint gave the final sign off, and now we're just ready. So we're excited.
I wanted to ask you guys about that. Is there anything specific that you want to talk about that you had wanted to implement at Live at the Bike, but you ended up having to wait till you were with Hustler?
Well, that's the thing. It would be so fun to talk about that right now because there's so many things. But here's where I think we're not going to probably have to be able to do that, is because there's so many cool things. I guess it's like if you're going to go to war, which we're not, because I love those guys and I don't look at it that way. I'm using that expression as, you just don't give away the map, right? Like, I just think there's some cool things that we're going to do that we want to do. And I think if we talk about them and we go into great detail about them, I think we kind of set ourselves up for like everyone doing it. And eventually they will get there if they see it and they like it. But man, do I really want to tell you. I really do.
We'll just say that, like, me and Nick are willing, as well as the casino, willing to spend money to build something special long term and put in the work and effort and use our resources and all of that. And when I was there, I would say that I didn't always feel like I was able to do everything I wanted to do, that I didn't have the opportunity to do fully what I wanted to do. And I think with Nick, and with Hustler, I think we can do everything we want to do, and there will be no holding back. And everyone's going to be pretty impressed.
You're going to see the sickest games with probably the best produced poker that you've seen in a long time when it comes to a live stream, with a lot of other really cool, fun things that are going to be peppered in there. So.
Yeah, we're going all out. We're trying to make this something special long term.
I know Nick touched on it briefly, but obviously the players in the lineup really makes or breaks the whole thing. What's it going to be as far as sourcing players and stuff? Is it going to be more invite? Is it going to be an open list? Are you going to do like a mixed thing, kind of like the Bike does, or what's the plan?
Well, my philosophy for building games has always been kind of similar in that, or kind of consistent in that. I've always wanted to build specific, juicy lineups for every show. I will say that when you have a bunch of owners and people to answer to, it becomes a little bit harder sometimes to do exactly what I want to do. But when it's me and Nick and we're running the show and we have a casino that supports us, like Hustler, I think we're going to be able to put together the sickest games and the sickest lineups. We have a lot of players that we've known for years that are aligned to us, that are going to follow us, that we've talked to during quarantine, especially over the last couple of weeks since we announced this. You're going to see all those players. You're going to see the sickest lineups. And yes, we're building specific lineups that are great for TV, so to speak, and great for playing in. And they're going to be games that the people are going to be lined up all night to wait to get in these games later after the stream. That's always my goal. How do I make this game as entertaining as possible? And how do I make it where this game is going to go as long as possible? So, we're going to be streaming 5 days a week. We're going to be doing all different stakes, mid stakes to high stakes, and we're going to put together the best lineups possible. No, it's not going to be a thing where first come, first serve. Whoever comes can play on the show. It's not like that. You want to play on the show? It's like a casting call. Tell us what you bring to the table. Why should you be a part of this? And constantly me and Nick, more so me, but both of us are out there trying to meet new people, trying to meet new players who we think would fit in the show. We go play in games in different places, and we're like, oh man, that guy would be perfect. We got to get to know this guy. That's like always my mindset wherever I go. I could be at a grocery store and be like, man, it's got to be great for a poker show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my application in. I'm a fish and I deal out devastating one-liners. Can I play?
Yeah.
You're in books.
Sweet.
Perfect. You know, it's crazy too. And again, I say I walk very lightly when I say this, and I'm going to try to figure out. I'm a pretty good communicator, so I'll try to say it. You know, we're not looking to right out of the gate just line our pockets or try to figure out just how to make money or do whatever. What we're trying to do is Ryan mentioned, is build the best poker stream out there. We're going to put money into that. You're going to hear some really sick commentating. You know, and again, this is not a needle. This is just a fact. God, I hate saying it, but I'm just going to say it. You're not going to see, we're not going to make deals with 4 or 5 different people to commentate on our show for free and then to get seats because that's what the deal was. And then they just sit there and grind. And these are pros that are just sitting, you got 2 or 3 pros sitting in a game just grinding. And, you know, the lineups just became not good for a while, you know, because of stuff like that. And I just think, you know, you have to, as an owner, you have to put yourself in the position of the viewer. The viewer they want characters. They want to know who the people are. They all have the people they love. They all have the people they hate. I'm right in the middle of that. Half of them love me. Half of them hate my guts, you know? So that's a good thing though, because that's what keeps people watching. Right. And like Ryan said, and he's got a gift. And that is to put games together that like anyone would want to watch because there's going to be action. There's going to be interaction. You know, you get a guy that's nitty and he's got a hood over his head and he doesn't say 2 words. He does not belong on a stream game. He doesn't belong anywhere even near the stream game. He shouldn't even be let in the casino, right? In my opinion, you know, they're just not worth it. So I think that's the key to everything. Even if you had a shitty stream with bad graphics and bad whatever, if you at least have that, you have everything, right? But if you could take all those other things to make it great and you have that and you start building characters in your lineups, it's just, people are just going to tune in to watch, you know, week and week after. So
And Nick loves it because my games that I put together are the only games where Nick could be like the best or second best player in the lineup. And it's true. And he actually usually is most of the time, right?
Hey, okay, since we're all telling truths, then guess what? Ryan's dog loves peanut butter. Figure it out. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say.
chapstick.
All right.
I was telling them before the show, Nick,
we're
that
just slinging it. Let's just go. Let's do it.
Nick, I was telling them before we started recording, they're asking how I was doing, and I was like, well, I just found out that my dog ate my chapstick, so I have no chapstick right now. So I'm dealing with that.
Well, we know what won't be chap soon, so that's good.
Yeah. You're so
No, I think that it's great that you guys are being honest about these things because this is obviously the way the poker world is turning, right? It's turning more into a casting call. It's turning more into a, what do you have to offer? You know, it's not necessarily a meritocracy anymore. And I think that there's a lot of people that have been trying to hide that fact for a while or in denial or whatever. But, you know, I think it's great. And I think that's just the reality of the situation. So I think it's great that you guys are being upfront about that because that's just the reality.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the truth.
Yeah, I mean, it was so, I shouldn't say it's hard, but it's part of the job, you know, when I was doing it there and, you know, somebody comes up and they're like, whoa, you know, why can't I get a seat? Or where am I in a list? Or why did I get bumped down? Or whatever. It's like, this is a show. You know, I'm not here to do people favors. I'm here to put together the best show. I'm here to put together the best lineup. And is that going to piss some people off? Like, yes. But I'll tell you this, like all of the recreational players, so to speak, like none of them will ever complain that the game is bad or that I treat them poorly or anything like that. Will some like tight pro who doesn't talk and doesn't bring anything to the table complain sometimes that they don't get my games or that I, you know, don't give them priority? Like, yeah, sure. But, you know, that's
I'm going to actually give Ryan another compliment, even though he said that the only time I'm good is in a group of donkeys, but I'm still gonna give him this compliment. He has probably one of the hardest jobs to do, which is just that, is to manage not only egos, to keep relationships intact, to not burn bridges. And when you have, you know, 5 people not happy with you because they can't get in, and then 10 people that are happy, you know, he's got a strange gift of being able to absorb a lot of heat. I could not do that, hence why we have the perfect partnership. If you guys knew, we fight like a married couple on a daily basis because we're so different. We both have strengths and weaknesses the other one doesn't have, but we have a great partnership because I could not, I'm a really good communicator. I'm good with people. I ran businesses, but man, I'm just at the stage of my life where like I couldn't absorb what he absorbs and still not have any enemies. It's crazy. So kudos to him. And that's why when Ryan came into Live at the Bike, he brought them from the grave to an amazing show. And why I feel, and I really feel this way, regardless if Ryan and I were partners, not partners, why I feel he's a huge loss over there. Like I could not understand how he could be allowed to be even set free. It made no sense to me. So anyways, but thank God for it because now you're going to get a product here next year sometime that it's going to be amazing because of it. So everything happens for a reason.
Sure.
Yeah. Just a question for you guys. So a lot of pros complain about games turning private, and it's hard to climb up the ladder because sometimes there's a lower ceiling on poker because you'll get shut out of some of the best games. Is there anything a good pro can do to get in your game? Like, is there a bring a whale kind of clause here where a really good player can show up with like a really big whale who's like great for the game and get in the game? Or is it going to be like, no pros, we want nothing to do with it?
No, there's no like, no, it's not like that. And it's a very gray thing. There's no formula. It's just we're looking for people that are good for the show, that are good for the game. Like we're not looking for someone to be fake their way into it. Like that's not like, hey man, if you talk more, or if you start drinking while you're playing, or if you start playing 7 deuce every time. Like we just want people to be themselves. And if you're good for the show, or if you're good for the game, you are. If you're not, you're not. Like that's all it is. So it's really hard to say. It's just there's not a direct formula. We're just constantly always looking for, someone to fit. Like we're just playing in a game, like in the casino. We're just happen to be like I might just be there playing 5-10 or something, and there's somebody at the table. I mean, there's so many people that play poker in the world. It's crazy. People that I meet more and more people every week, every month in the LA poker scene that I didn't even know existed in the poker world before. It's amazing, and I'm like, man, this guy would be perfect for the show. But you just sit there at a 5-10 game, or you're at a private game somewhere, and someone's at the table and you're like, man, this guy's hilarious, or man, this guy's amazing action. And you just get to know that person, and eventually you see if they're comfortable being on the show. I can't say that like if some guy who's like a really good player who's boring, comes up to me, he's like, hey, how can I be on the show? I'm not going to tell them how to do that because I don't want them to be a fake person.
You could just tell them to take a bunch of shrooms and then show up.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. But and again, Ryan and I always come from a different angle, so I'm never contradicting him because he puts the games together. But I will just go to your point. I do think that if a player that is not great for the game brings the absolute greatest player in the world for the game, that we might not throw a bag over the Nit's head and let him play one session just so we can get this guy to play and maybe become a regular. I think that's good business. And not to mention too, like you asked, like, how could you be, even if maybe you're a little snug and you're not the most action, if you're going to be on the stream, maybe create some action. I think, not that we want them to be fake. It's like anything else. Like, Ryan tells me all the time when we're playing too, if I'm like, we were playing with players, we're playing somewhere, and he's like, yeah, man, like, straddle when they want you to straddle, take a shot if someone wants you to take a shot, like accommodate like the scenery, because I don't like to be told what to do. I like to do what I want to do. But like, so he's often told me that. So I think, if someone comes on the show and they are a personality and they do talk, and not that you're going to tell them to, I don't think you can force anyone to be something they're not. But if you're going to have a personality, that's the time to have it. So so the fans say, hey, I want to see that guy again. They may not realize that his range is like tighter than your asshole, but if they love watching him and they like it, so I think then that's a good thing. So it's just a funny mixture. Like we have so many players on there that aren't like, sometimes I've even watched that aren't like, if you really watch them, they're not the greatest action, but they're really fun to watch in certain spots. The players love them for whatever reason, and if you're getting views and people want to see it, that's what it's about. But you get a feel for that, like, pretty quick, and who that is and who that isn't. So
yeah, I was gonna on the first thing you said, I just remember one of the first few times that Randall played on the show, he kind of made me let his friend, that kid Rich Alati, Rich.
Mhm.
He made him play on the show, and I was like, all right, whatever you want, Randall. Whoever you want to play can play. So Rich got a seat in like a sick game just because Randall,
Yeah, that was the reverse.
What's that?
That was the reverse way. Like you had someone who.
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, that's kind of the opposite. Yeah, you're right.
No, but it's the same concept to accommodate Randall, who's going to put in 84 bullets in the first hour and making an ass of himself, which most people love. Okay, you want the tightest pro in the world to play just so that makes you happy? Sure.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Funny story with Randall. The biggest pot I've ever lost in my life was to Randall I got my aces cracked by his like Jack 5 suited to a blind like 2K pre-flop.
Yeah.
It was in a ladies cash game. We let him have a seat in that game, so I understand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, just don't ever loan him any money and you'll be all right.
Okay,
Whoa, did he really say that? Yeah, I said it.
We interrupt this podcast with an important message from our sponsors at Run It Once. In case you missed it, sit-and-goes have officially arrived at Run It Once Poker, and if you're a first-time depositor, we want you to try them out on us. If you make your first deposit by the end of November, you'll unlock 50 euros worth of S&G Select tickets, plus an extra 20% rakeback on top of the rakeback already offered through our popular Legends Rewards program. And that's not all. You'll also receive our long-standing welcome bonus that matches 100% of your deposits up to 600 euros for 30 days. For full details, head to once.run/select. And if you're looking to improve your game, head on over to Run It Once Training, where you'll find the largest library of high-quality poker training content on the web, with 2 new videos posted daily from an incredible stable of some of the greatest minds in the game, including Run It Once founder Phil Galfond. Sign up today at once.run/learn, and you'll get free access to 3 of our elite level videos. And now, back to the pod.
You don't know how many times when Nick was on Live at the Bike, he would have to like text me or call me or pull me aside during the show because on delay. Because the Friday game was on like a really long delay. Back then, the Friday game was like a 5-hour delay sometimes. And he would have to tell me like, hey, at this time, you got to mute the stream. I didn't mean to say this first.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I once took a personal call outside with my mic on for like 8 minutes, and that just could not be out in the world,
Dude, I had a Poker Night in America. They're a great show, but they didn't run the tightest ship there. They forgot to cut a mic, like it was like an overhead mic that was next to a final table that I was sweating with Chrissy B. Thank God I was talking to Chrissy B. It was for half an hour on delay too. So for half an hour, our whole entire conversation was on there.
God.
I'm thinking like if I was talking to Marle, we would both be kicked out of poker.
Yeah.
There are certain people like
Yeah.
Chrissy's so wholesome. Our conversation was like, oh, like boring, nice
Yeah.
girl stuff. But I'm like, holy shit, that was just being broadcast for half an hour before they told us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, Ryan, you said that you meet people all the time that are just like in poker and all that stuff. Do you think that this COVID thing, people being out of work, people having tough financial situations now more than ever, is that affecting a lot of the players that you know? A lot of people going broke? I mean, I kind of worry about the ecosystem post-COVID. Is that a factor at all?
I don't know where the hell people get their money from, but poker is alive and well in LA right now. I'll tell you that. Right?
Good to know. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I played poker every single day for the last 9 months or whatever. I mean, I was, more like virtual poker, now more live poker. But I mean, the people I see playing, 3 days a week, 5 days a week, 7 days a week. I mean, it's just amazing. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe some of the pros are getting hurt by it because they have less opportunities to play. That's possible. I don't know. But I would say that in general, like poker in LA specifically is just been amazing for the last 9 months or whatever since quarantine started. And that's a good sign. So no, I don't think it's been hurt at all. Maybe in other areas of the country, I don't know, but not here.
I feel like LA's always been better than Vegas and arguably one of the best hubs, California in general, of poker in the States. What do you think that like is different about them? Do you know? Because it's like they always just seem to have amazing action forever.
Yeah. I don't know, Nick, what do you think?
Well, what I think, and I don't know why I think this, but it just seems like a lot of well, gosh, it's not true. A lot of pros live here too. I don't know. God, that's a good one. I just like rethought it in my head as what I was going to say, and I'm not sure I really know either, to be honest with you. But you go sit in most games in Vegas, and they're, like you said, they're just different. And especially at the higher, I think what it is too is if you get a little bit higher stake, and I don't know what to what above, you just see a lot of pros in Vegas because they live there for that, But if you go into the smaller games in Vegas, they're filled with just a lot of passerbys. But it's hard for me to say because I play in the higher games, and when I go to Vegas, it's just so tight. Like everything's just,
Yeah, I just think. I think in Vegas, you just don't have as much. There's just so much more business in LA. There's just so much more money out here in terms of business people, in terms of whether it's Hollywood or different industries or whatever. And in Vegas, like people move to Vegas. Like there's more pros that move to Vegas for different reasons. There's the tax reasons. You have all the casinos that are accessible, all of that. And so I think the people that play poker, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days a week in Vegas, it's just a much higher percentage of pros than recreational players with a lot of money that live in Vegas. You know what I mean? Like in LA, there's so many business people. Everybody wants to work and run a business in LA. And so,
because all the recreational players are playing blackjack and craps because they're there for action and they really don't know how to play poker. And people that play poker are poker players,
And pros, like I said, pros. I think that's actually part of it. Is like pros don't want to pay taxes in LA; they want to pay taxes in Vegas. So that probably has a little bit of effect.
With cost of living so high in LA, also like you just kind of have to have money to live there.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If you're paying like I watch all those like HGTV shows for whatever reason. And it's always like, a 2,000 square foot house in LA, and I'm waiting for it to be like 400K, and they're like, $2.7 million. I'm like, what the fuck? So basically, if you're spending that much money to live there, like you just have to have extra money, I would think, and maybe that's why the games are so good. You get actors, you get athletes. I don't know. I was so surprised. I played at Gardens, at the Rake, at Commerce, and every time the game was so good that I'd get back to Vegas and be just as I sat and look at like the dead-eyed pros across the table from me.
Yeah, back in the day, I'm sure Ryan remembers this. I don't remember how long ago this was, maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. You go to the Commerce Casino on Friday night, and there's 6, 10, 20 games or 20, 40 games like backed up, and you can't even figure out which one you want to be in first because they're good, So just a lot of players looking to play that aren't as knowledgeable as in Vegas.
I want to ask you guys, because the casinos are so different from one another. Like Marle and I always rag on the Commerce. We just can't help it. It just reminds me of being in like a big basement and everyone's mean to the dealers and the cocktail waiters. It's like, I don't understand it. I don't know when they decided that was going to be the place where like dealers get treated badly. Gardens, complete opposite. It was like the friendliest place. I don't know. What is the deal? Like why? It's the same player market.
Management. Honestly, Ryan could maybe has a different view of it, but just meeting with the different casinos, 5, 6 of them, whatever it is, you could tell from who you met with and how the conversation went, how it is exactly what you're going to see down in the casino and what's going to be allowed and what the vibe's going to be and how the players are going to be treated. And you hit the nail on the head with that one. That was one. I hate to say it too, because if I ever want to play there again, I hope no one's going to be mad at me. But like, that's just one where we walked out of that meeting and said, if they want this stream, no, not going to happen. It's just, we couldn't build what we wanted to build after that conversation. It was just ridiculous. We walked out going, we treated it, whatever.
Yeah, that's so strange because when LAPC was in Commerce, I've only been there a couple times during that, everything was good. So it's like you bring in WPT, you bring in Matt Savage and all these people, and they do a good job. And then I just went on like an off week and played a bunch there. And I was like, this is not where I want to be. It's just really odd. Because you think that's not really a good thing for anyone. Unless it's a good thing if you're an asshole who wants to mistreat a dealer. But how is that person someone you want in your business?
Yeah, we're excited that when we go to Hustler, it's kind of the most under the radar casino of the 5 major ones in LA. And so we have an opportunity to build that up from the ground up and make it something really special. And there's a lot of room to grow in the LA poker scene, obviously, and we have a lot of potential there. And I think that we're going to create a really good environment. I think Nick can attest to that. I think we're going to create a really good environment of games. We're going to really focus on bringing in like 5, 10 and bigger games and just creating a friendly environment, a fun environment, a comfortable environment.
Mm-hmm.
The management's going to help us do that. And so we're really excited to just see, a year from now, 2 years from now, what is the Hustler Poker Room going to look like? And how is that going to grow exponentially compared to what's going to happen to the other poker rooms once we take over?
Yeah, and something I don't know if you guys know or Ryan mentioned yet anywhere, but the GM Sean Yapel has some huge vision, and he sees the potential that we could bring there, not just on the stream. And so, they made us both promoters. So the whole floor will be Ryan and I, who will be able to, with 5 and up, be able to build it, dictate it, have control over the room, the rules, not any rules that are just automatic rules, but like the vibe of how it's going to be. So me personally, and Ryan, I know is along with this, just believes, players come to play, sure, if the food is good, which by the way, the Hustler has really good food, which a lot of people don't know because they're, but it's just like, if you come in, you're treated well, you got something that happens, you're respected, and you're also treated well. At the same time, like the management protects their dealers, so it's not a shit show, free, like you said, free for all, where it's just like, what's going on here? No one's. That's people are going to come play there. They're going to come play there because they want to be recognized. They want to be treated well. And poker players are the weirdest. They can be playing for thousands of dollars. You give them a free chicken kebab, or you give them like a coffee, or they don't want to. It's the littlest things that tilt them. That if you don't give them, even if they're playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars, like they just like that's all they talk about. When I would sit at the Commerce, that's all I would hear is they're charging for food now. They're doing this. They won't give us this. They won't do that. They took this away. And the guy's got 45,000 in front of him, and he's bitching about $8. But that's just the psyche of a lot of people. So you have to cater to them. Customer service, So
yeah, it's wanting to feel respected and that your patronage is like actually noticed and appreciated. I had a friend who was a high roller at Borgata, who never went back again because they charged him for Fiji waters. They hooked him up with a cabana and all this stuff. He had been betting $40,000 a ring in blackjack the previous night. And for whatever reason, it was probably just a mistake that the waitress included a bucket of Fiji waters that was in the cabana. He looked at that and he said, "Fuck this. I'm never coming back here again." He goes, "Do you think you can cash out my chips for me?" I'm like, "No." There are like so many chips. I was like, they're going to think I robbed you. But that's all it took. You're completely right. I feel like some of the little like frill benefits that people get when they're playing big or that they're loyal customers matter so much, and it's such a small cost to the casino.
Yeah, it's just the answer just should be yes. I mean, you get so much out of it, so much. It goes such a long way, and like you said, that one tilting thing, and somebody goes on principle, and then once that person says, "I'm out of here, cash my chips, the Fiji water, whatever," now they can't really do anything about it because they've made the mistake. I'm telling you, I've seen people leave casinos for stupid shit like that. Yep. And I'm just like, why would that floor man, why would that person tell them no? Why would they be digging in over something so stupid? So I think that's going to be just a huge difference that whoever comes there is going to see. It's just not going to be that way. The answer is going to be kind of, yeah, yes, sure, whatever, And at the same time, the same thing goes. There are some people that are extremely ridiculously stupid of how they treat people. And I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how important you think you are. I don't care if it's a waiter, a dealer. You find out who someone's character is by how they treat those people. And honestly, you don't need those people around. They will not be there. I'll just tell you that right now, because we have the ability to also control that. And if there's someone that's abusing the staff and abusing other players, because a lot of times that drives away other players too when someone
100%.
But no one will say anything. They'll just pick their chips up and leave, or they won't say anything, but they won't come back. They won't play in the game if that person's in the game. That person is not going to have a seat.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you guys are really curating what's happening in private games in the casino, which is great because obviously what private games lack is security. And things that the luxuries of being in a casino. You don't have to worry about being cheated. You don't have to worry about all these stuff.
Right.
So what specifically, I don't want to name names, but there's been some drama with cheating recently in poker. What are you going to do to make sure that doesn't happen in your game?
Sure.
So that was one of our biggest priorities when we started putting these proposals together for a live stream at another casino. And so we went to Hustler. We had a detailed proposal of what we want to do because we want to set a precedent right from the beginning of this is how it's going to be and this is how it's going to be forever. And so this is what we're going to do. So when people come for a show, we're going to have a security guard there that's going to wand people down 15 minutes before the show. So we have the show is kind of like in like a table and like a bubble, so to speak. And outside of that, there's going to be a security guard, and he or she is going to take away each player's any cell phones they have, any smartwatches they have. Also, there's no sunglasses allowed at the game too. So any of those items will be placed into a secure locker, and that locker will not be accessible while the players are at the table. So if someone needs to leave the table for an important phone call, they can come outside, they can ask for their phone, they can do that, and then they have to give it back before they go back to the inside the bubble where the table is. But they won't be able to access any of those items during the show. And then same for the control room. So anybody who works in the control room or on the production at all, same thing, 15 minutes before the show, we'll have to all give away all our cell phones, smartwatches, and that'll be placed in the lockers as well. And nobody from the production team will be able to access anything during the entirety of the broadcast. Even if somebody in the control room has to go to the bathroom for a minute or something, they still can't get their cell phone. So all of that will be locked away during the show. And that way we know at the very least that nobody's going to have any electronic items on there, players or production team members. And then, of course, we'll also have like routine IT checks, and we'll be working with an IT specialist and things like that to make sure our computers are secure and that there's nothing else happening there. So we're taking it very serious, and obviously that's like a huge important issue to everybody, and especially to us. So we want to just set that precedent from day one so that we never have an issue with that, so that the players feel safe when they're playing 100%, so that viewers feel safe watching. And we're looking forward to just setting that precedent right off the beginning.
It's good too. Like a side effect of taking everyone's electronics away is that they have to actually communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Because I've been part of streams where I'm like, oh, this game's going to be really fun. Everyone's having a drink, whatever. And then some people at the table will literally watch the stream or they'll be on Twitter or whatever. And I'm like, this sucks. Like we're now making a crappy production because people kind of want to just be on their own, like looking at their devices. So it's great that it's safe, but I also think you're going to just get a lot more interactions between players and like funny moments to talk about on stream.
Nick will be talking even more because he's like back in the day when we I will say that for a long time, like our stream, every stream was just very naive about devices and security and integrity. Just like, oh, everything will be fine, and then we saw what happened with Stones. So like, even Nick on like a Friday or on any day will be playing, and he's a businessman. So he's on his phone texting, and it's like, so I mean, Nick talks a lot as it is. Imagine how much he's going to talk now that his phone's going to be locked away for 5 hours.
I know. It's going to hurt me too, man, not having that phone, but it has to be done. It has to be done. So, and let's talk about that bubble you mentioned. I don't know if you guys know this, but the Hustler has committed to building this grandiose, big, like round platform in their main casino that has like a crown at the top because Larry Clinton and his wife like a lot of plush things, like everything in the casinos, like down to the detail gold and this, and it's kind of gaudy in some areas, but so you're going to see like this massive round glass platform with a big crowd. They're spending a massive amount of money to like put this thing together. It's really cool. Like they got their shit together. Like they really see this as an important thing for their casino. So.
Nice. So obviously is happening in California. Cases are off the charts. So what are we looking at for a timeline? What are you guys hoping to do for an opening?
Well, what we think might be the case, don't get me started about that subject. I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't think whatever. Let's just answer your question so we don't go there. So whatever. But we're hoping to, by February or March, by the time this is built out and we think the world will be back on its axis, we hope by that time, and to be able to be inside and being able to get going inside and start doing it. That's what we're shooting for, is the end of the first quarter of 2021. If it's a little before that, maybe. If it's a little after, I don't know. We're going to have to see how it goes.
Nice.
It's looking so much better than I thought it was going to look at this point. Like, I don't know. It looked like vaccines might take a couple of years. There was a lot of very dark projections for a while, but it looks like they were saying December 11th might be like the first round of vaccines. And I don't know how long it'll take to actually make a huge impact on, our whole entire country.
Yeah.
But it looks like if they got the oldest people, the most at-risk people, then it starts to become less of a risk to sit down. You're not like risking life or death for other people. Maybe in a couple of months that'll happen and people will feel more comfortable and it just won't be as big of a deal.
No.
But I don't know. It looks a lot brighter than it had been for a while.
I'm going to be very careful because, again, I think then it becomes like, Marle knows, she's smiling, but I'll just put it to you this way. This is a statistical fact. 99.9% of the people under 49 years old who get it live. That is the stat. And then even if you're over a certain age, it's still in the 90s. So again, let's leave it at that. But I think you're right. I think they are a lot less than we thought they would be. And I'm going to just leave it there because it's such a touchy subject.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where like if we
sides that are just so adamant about how they feel that even if you want to say something respectfully and it's your opinion, you just get just like filleted. So I'm just going to leave it there. I think it'll be fine, especially once this election gets over and it gets stamped, whichever way it goes. I think you're going to see, depending on how it goes, I think you'll see two different things. But I also think that a lot of it will, I don't want to say go away because it's a real virus and it's a real thing, and a lot of people have a lot of pain over it. So not disrespecting that, but I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I think the panic that people feel about it is just that there are so many people that are old and at risk. So it's like, if you can sit out one poker game and not infect someone, it's so valuable. But also once those people, like, I don't know, we can definitely not talk about this because I feel like all the comments are going to be like, COVID's real, COVID's fake, like whatever. It's unreal when we talk about this stuff.
I'm just completely sitting on my tongue right now because you go.
Talk about the weather in every comment. They just anything we talk about, they make it about COVID or they make it about the election.
I know.
So I'm laughing because like when we give them a little piece, they're going to be in the comments like,
I would if you wanted to really talk with me about that, I would blow up your show. I would have 1 million people love me, 2 million people that would hate me, but you get a lot of views, and I would be, deemed something.
Hey, you want to have a great political show? Get Nick and Mike Matusow on together.
Yeah, except we're all just poker playing assholes. Like, who should ever listen to us?
Exactly, I agree. I'm just an asshole. I'm not even a good poker player.
The moral of the story is like, we can't have Uncle Abe coming because he's at risk.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, well,
he doesn't come.
I'm not saying shit, Ryan. You can say what you want, but yeah, if Uncle Abe comes, we'll put him in a bubble. I don't know. We'll put him in a
hazmat suit.
An astronaut suit. Okay, well, let's fly Abe over the table to play his hands in an astronaut suit. Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, that's basically what he wears. Yeah.
I'll pop holes in his helmet.
Yeah. It's true. If we can't have old people in the game, then the game is not going to be that good. So we need those older gentlemen who have a lot of money and.
Well, we don't have any money, like our generation. So yeah, without them, who's playing? Because everyone I know my age is broke. So.
Without them, who's playing and who else is living in LA? Nobody.
Exactly.
I know.
It's a tough thing. It's a tough trade-off there. Yeah. But anyways, this was great, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We managed to go about 45 minutes with no controversy, and then we just get everyone riled up at the end. It's great. If they stuck through to the end.
This isn't even controversy yet. I am muting myself because I get myself in so much trouble. I love talking shit, but I'm just not going to.
We'll save it for the Hustler stream.
What are you drinking there, Marle? Is that coffee? What do you got? Tea?
I'm drinking coffee, yeah, and it's 9 p.m. here in Dublin, so.
Oh, you're in Dublin. Do you live in Dublin? That's where your boyfriend or your fiance is, huh?
We're just here for 3 months. Basically, just because of COVID, we wanted to be able to stay together because he can't.
There's no COVID there?
We're in lockdown. Yeah.
No, okay.
which sucks. I was just telling them I haven't had a single Guinness or been to a single bar.
No bar, no Guinness, just you and your guy.
Just me and my guy, and we haven't killed each other yet. So I think
What do you guys been doing in there? Go ahead, tell us.
You're gonna have to subscribe to her OnlyFans if you want to see
Spend
that.
a couple minutes on it. Go ahead.
you have to get Spraggy's private Snapchat if you want the details. On
Okay. I'm too old to figure technology out. I can't do it.
Yeah. But I'll be back in Vegas actually this weekend, so I'm moving back, so just for a little while and see how it goes.
Nice.
Anyway,
Come on, honey. It's almost over. Let's see him. Bring him over. Have him stand behind
Yeah,
you.
give us
Come over
Spraggy.
Spraggy,
Come over here.
Oh,
Sit
wow.
down. You're awfully tall, little kid.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Hey, what have you guys been doing around there?
Huh?
Nothing. Just screwing around. Leave me.
Nick wants to know what your average day is like together.
We sit in the house.
You like peanut butter?
Play poker. That's about it.
Okay.
What more do you need? What more do you need? Is this on the pod? Am I on the pod?
We're
now?
on the pod, yeah.
This is the pod. Oh,
Oh, shit.
Spraggy does not do podcasts. He's like
That's
not
really
a
funny.
fan, really, and so we're very blessed to have him on ours.
Yeah.
Wow, viewership's gonna go
Like an eclipse.
Anyways, let's wrap up this pod and then we can have a little chat. But thank you guys for watching. Back next week for another episode, and be safe out there.